Shit. I'm the one calling the shots. I don't get stuck in the box. Feel like I've been through a lot.
Hello and welcome back to the Dojo of Gain. Now before we get into this topic, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. So, today we have Joe Rogan talking about AI being used in China on kids at school. Now, I have not seen this video. I've seen it come up on my feed and I've been interested in it. I've been wanting to do this for a couple days now to see what really is going on as far as them using AI. I'm not surprised because China does whatever the hell they want. They don't really have the bounds of ethics like we do here in the US, so we'll see what's going on. Looks like they're creating a cyborg generation. Maybe pretty soon they'll have androids like on Dragon Ball Z coming out from China fighting their wars. Let's check this out.
So much better than the alternative, because the alternative is a system like China has, where it's a state-controlled system. Like their social media is monitored. Like people go to jail for dissenting. Like it's very dangerous.
Well, look, I mean, if you...
It's a good time to show you this video.
Video shows how China is using AI in their schools.
Again, this is from an Instagram account that is popular. What they show is like an edited video. I don't know how accurate all this is though, but
China know exactly when someone isn't paying attention. These headbands measure each student's level of concentration.
Oh my
The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents. Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students wear uniforms with chips that track their locations. There are even surveillance cameras that monitor how often students check their phones or yawn during classes. But schools say it wasn't hard for them getting parental consent to enroll kids into what is one of the world's largest experiments in AI education. A program that's supposed to boost students' grades while also feeding powerful algorithms.
Alright, so far I can tell you that this sounds horrific. I mean, I think every sentient being deserves a certain level of privacy. I remember when I was a child, I valued having opportunities to have privacy, private conversations with your friends, being able to sleep in the back of the class. I mean, life is life. You should be able to have that freedom of having a little bit of privacy. This is a complete invasion of what is humanity, in my opinion. It's like borderline slavery. It's, well, I wouldn't say slavery, but maybe like psychological slavery. It's wild. Definitely would not want to study anything in China. It looks like they're even doing it to older students in high school, sending data to their parents, sending data to the professor based on their brainwaves. Your thoughts are private. Nobody should have access to your thoughts, so that's completely insane. If I ever have kids, definitely would not sign a consent form for something like that. But that's not what I thought. I thought they had some kind of like neural enhancement with the AI. It looks like they're just kind of like reading their minds so far. Let's see what else they have to say.
that's about it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. They're going to kill us.
Well,
they're going to dominate.
but
they're going to
sometimes
dominate.
I'm always a little bit skeptical of some of these things because you're kind of like, okay, is this just like one random school is doing it this way in China and it's like a little experiment? Because I have heard people like say that like I've heard people who like run businesses in China. I heard a podcast with this one guy who lived there or still lives there in China. And he was like, I don't know what everyone's talking about with this social credit score. He goes, I've never heard of it. It's never affected me. I don't have a social credit score. You know, and I almost like wonder, like sometimes we do get a lot of propaganda about China because there's also a whole bunch of people like who are real hawkish toward them. So I always try to kind of be skeptical of some of this. No doubt the CCP is really creepy. You know what I mean? And they're definitely like an authoritarian, fucked up government.
They're a dictatorship.
But, yes, a one-party dictatorship for sure.
And when you've got something like that, that's how you run it.
Yeah, but there were like that dude Adrian Zen, who was like, he was like putting out a lot of the stuff about the Uyghur Genocide, and he was like drastically like misrepresenting what's happening. And he actually, I believe he apologized for it, but he just got called out like literally like just doing bad math. Like, oh, you didn't carry the one here, motherfucker. It's 10 times less than what you're saying. And it's not like the evidence for that is not nearly what they kind of suggested. It's more seems like, oh yeah, China's a real authoritarian government and they limit how many children everyone can have. And it's okay, they don't have the one child policy anymore. Now you're allowed 3 or whatever. But like it's like it wasn't quite like the story that was originally put out there. I just always get worried.
Okay, that makes sense that they would exaggerate the situation in China on the news. I mean, the news exaggerates every situation. The news is basically just a propaganda machine created to give you spikes in cortisol so you get addicted to watching it and you keep tuning in and they can make their money. I mean, everybody knows this by now. The only people I believe that are really like believers of the news are like senior citizens. I think that the young people have had their eyes open, especially after the current situations that I can't mention or I'll get in trouble, because you already know how the rules are around here, but you know what I'm talking about. And either way, this probably might be an experiment that they're just doing in one school, but either way, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crossing the line in my opinion, but hey, China's the place to experiment with new things. I mean, I think they even have AI girlfriends in China already, according to a video I've seen. So China's the place, man. China's the place to find out.
About
Uyghur
that.
Muslim genocide? Like what?
I have not seen.
A German scholar named Adrian Zenz has recently stood out on the anti-China stage with his reports accusing China of detaining Uyghurs and other minority groups or imposing sterilization on ethnic minorities in its, how do you say that? Xinjiang region?
I believe that's right.
Xinjiang region. Zenz has been welcomed by the U.S. and Western media as a leading expert on Xinjiang.
He was quoted by Pompeo when Pompeo declared that they were committing a genocide.
Okay, and so what does it say?
Full of lies, far-fetched assumptions, and baseless accusations. If you go, they did a good piece on this. If you go to antiwar.com, which I recommend everyone do every day, and just search Adrian Zenz there, they did a really good piece breaking down like how it's like straight up like his math is wrong. It's not even like, oh, there's an argument about this. It's like, no, look, he's got these numbers completely wrong. So it's just people get real carried away with this shit. And my biggest concern is just that like after this whole stand in Ukraine, Taiwan is going to fucking be next. And it's like, oh, so now we're going to be flirting with a nuclear confrontation with Russia and China. So that's like my biggest concern in all of this. I do agree, though, that the whole, like, AI in the classroom and all this shit is creepy as fuck.
Bro, if they
I don't want it around my
that
kids.
nationwide, first of all, the problem would be it would work.
Yeah.
And kids would get way better. Because you'd make them work.
Yeah.
You'd force them. Like, you'd hold them accountable. There wouldn't be any hiding.
It
but
worked for that.
It would also be terrible for getting people to recognize that figures of authority should be questioned. You're not going to develop any of that. You're going to have to adhere very strictly to these rules.
Yeah.
Which I think part of going through school is learning that different people are more or less effective at communicating, that you want to pay attention to them more or less, that there's an education you're getting in a shitty class, believe it or not. You're getting an education on what happens in a shitty class, about how much you hate it and how much it sucks and how stupid your teacher is.
Yeah.
And how disinterested they are in the subject that they're teaching you and how they expect total compliance and they don't understand human emotions and the way people think and behave. That's an education too. Like going through bad schools gave me a great view on what some adults are potentially like.
I learned a lot from really awful teachers about what I don't want to be in this world.
Yeah, man. Think about how much interaction you.
Complete side note, but when I was in high school, I had a teacher that used to come in hungover almost every day, and he would just throw us a worksheet and chill at his desk and read the newspaper. And once I passed 21, I confirmed that theory because he's always in the nightclubs. He's basically like a Don Juan, what would be the word in English? I don't know, a playboy. It's just party guy every day. I mean, I think he's like in his 50s now and he's still in the nightclub, so you can tell that's his lifestyle. That's what he's into. I mean, the job is just a paycheck for him. There's going to be teachers like that out there that aren't passionate about their jobs. It's true. A lot of the problem with public school also is just parents are terrible at teaching their kids any type of discipline. The teachers waste a lot of time trying to get the kids to listen when really they shouldn't have to do that. Their parents should teach them to listen at home, and they should just come to school and do what they need to do. So it's a big issue. It's a big issue in North America, mostly because parents are just too weak to instill any discipline.
You have as a child with adults, right? You have your parents and you have your friends' parents. And then very rarely are you alone with strangers, except when you go to school. And then you go to school and you get sent by the least motivated. I mean, sent to the least motivated people, oftentimes, people that aren't happy to be there. They don't enjoy it, especially if it's a bad neighborhood. It's a sketchy job to begin with. You might get jumped by some kids. And these people are just browbeaten, and they get in there, and they don't even want to be there. And these are responsible for showing your children, for most of the day, what an adult is like.
Yeah.
And if that kid doesn't have a strong figure at home, if that kid doesn't have someone at home that's kind and generous and works hard and is very engaged in them with their life, then they think that that's what adults are like.
And has been since the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of important that they had that already for years before they go to school,
But
you know?
that's still better than Rogan.
Yeah, great points. See, I think it's kind of what we need would be like a balance between China and the US, right? So we have kids with absolutely no discipline in the US, no respect for authority, basically hooligans. And then on the other side, we have kids who are almost psychological slaves where they're reading their minds and keeping them 100% straight, 100% on the line that they want them to be on. So it'd be good to have a balance in between, but no, don't agree at all with the AI thing. I think that's just crossing the line. I think it's creepy. I think it's kind of like something in a horror movie. How much longer until, like, for example, the Neuralink, people are going to be willing to put chips in their brain, but how much longer until somebody can just hack your brain and shut you down, or hack your brain and make you do whatever they want you to do, or the AI takes over your brain and you become a human vessel for an AI. Now this sounds like crazy conspiracy theories, but it's really not. If you think about how fast AI is advancing, things like this are probably going to happen. But I'm no expert, so don't listen to me. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.